Hey everyone, welcome to the recovery scene. I have forgotten what episode I'm on. I don't even count them anymore. So if you're that kind of person, you can always go to the, videos and count them down. You're free to do this. Um, don't forget to like and subscribe. Our guest tonight is Crystel Maingert. Crystel said something that was so funny. She said, I started experimenting with drugs at 13. And then she said, no, I'm not. Scientists experiment. I was doing drugs. And so I'm going to let her tell you all about that. Crystel, thank you so much for being here tonight. I really appreciate you being willing to share your story with us.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
That's awesome. All right, take it away. It is all you.
Thank you. Well, let's get started. Now, I started when I was a kid and I watched people with drugs and alcohol basically my whole life. But I'm not going to start off with that because as addicts and alcoholics, we all have the same story. We just have different times, places, people, and events.
Mm-hmm.
We have been through hell and back. And I want to capture you with that. I'm not going to say, well, this is my story, because you guys share a story with me. We are all together in this. We have all seen the horrors of what it can do to our friends, to our families, to the people on the street, and to ourselves.
Yes.
I watched as the light faded from my eyes and the person who I thought I would become and the person who I was walk away from me. And I was left with a shell of a person whose skin was falling off, whose bones were protruding out, and was left a shattered soul, a shattered human being with a shattered body. And I mean shattered in a way where my leg was crippled in complete anguish because I couldn't stop running from myself. And I ran straight into a tree at 60 miles an hour. And I shattered my leg because I couldn't sit down with myself and learn to love myself and find my self-worth and start to care about who I was and who was around me that I was affecting. And I went straight into a tree. And I am alive today because of a seatbelt. And I am alive today because I decided to find myself, find my self-worth, and create an entirely new person.
I will exactly what we have to do in order to recover is we have to become a new person.
Exactly. I will be crippled forever for the rest of my life. I am going in for a 4th reconstructive surgery on my leg in 2 weeks. The trauma and damage that comes with just that and the PTSD that comes with just that is one piece of an entire whole. I had to learn to overcome the trauma of what addiction put me through. It wasn't my choice to say I'm going to go drink myself into oblivion and allow people to do horrendous things to me. Absolutely heinous things have been done to my body, to my psyche, to my soul. I had to take all of that baggage, that darkness and that hatred and that pain and sit with it and separate each piece of it and try to heal all of these wounds that led me to addiction, kept me in addiction, and helped me recover from that addiction. I am a survival story. I almost died several times. I was tortured sexually for almost a year. I was sucked into my addiction to pills and alcohol led me down a very obvious road to methamphetamine. And I was sucked into it so fast and so easily that I was willing to sacrifice my body, my mind, my soul, my family, my home, my loved ones, and my body to go get my fix. I allowed horrible things, and I have to cope with the guilt of allowing myself to put myself through those things. And then I have to cope with the actions that were taken upon me. And that's one thing I want others out there to know, that it's not just me telling you what happened each year of my life that led me to this. It's the entire whole of what happened and how I'm dealing with it now. My clean and sober dates will be official in 2 days as 2 years clean and sober.
Yay! That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We almost have the same birthday. Mine's like 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now. The Super Bowl's 3 weeks from now, right? Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
So, I recently came into my TikTok videos have led me down this extraordinary road. I accidentally made a 12-second TikTok and it blew up. And it kind of went viral for a second there, and I panicked and I deleted it. I was like, oh my God, I can't have this much attention. And people are like taking it the wrong way. I was showing how I knew exactly what methamphetamine addiction does to people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 12 seconds and it blew up. It got over 500,000 views. It was shared like 10,000 times, and then it was liked over 80,000 times. And I panicked. I was like, oh crap, I gotta delete that. I deleted it, and I was like, why did I do that? I'm gaining momentum with the sobriety side of TikTok, because people came to me and they're like, can you help me? And my heart just melted because I made video after video of showing people that I understood. Because addicts don't want to go to sober community for help all the time because they feel like we are stigmatized. We are judged by the sober community. We get the backlash of it was your choice.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do that? You're a horrible parent. You're all these things. And it's when you can find a community of people who have been through the hell and back, and they can relate to you on a level, they're more apt to reach out. They're more apt to get the help that they don't know how to receive. I didn't know how to receive it. I had to walk around my town with somebody very close to me, and they looked me in the eye and they said, you need rehab. And I said, fuck you, I don't need rehab. And they're like, you're going to rehab. And I was like, fine, I'm going to rehab. I'm going to have as much fun as I can.
Before you go, yeah.
In there. And what did I do? I spiraled out of control and never went to rehab.
Right. Now you said that you started at 13.
Yes.
How did that come about? Starting at 13. What led to that?
Very easily. I think we all remember the DARE program.
Sure do.
That backfired. It's like, okay, let's tell these kids how drugs are done, where to find drugs, what drugs are which, and what they do to you. And me as a 13-year-old kid, I was like 11 and 12, I'm listening like, that sounds so much fun. Okay. And then you get the mentality as a child as I can control it. And I had that mentality till I was 28 years old. I got it. It's under control. I'm a functioning addict. Um, no, we're not functioning addicts. We're addicts.
Mm-hmm.
We're addicts. But yeah, it started with Dare, and then it's moved on to high school when they had those seminars. Those were exciting because they actually hit me because I knew I was going to be an addict because I had already started. And I was like, I'm going to be an addict, but I'm going to be able to control my addictions. Because I always was an intelligent person, very logical, very rational, articulate, good grades, you know, very social. I was always that kind of person. So I just learned as much as I could about it as soon as I could. But the heroin and the meth seminars, they hit me hard. And I was like, I'm never doing heroin and I'm never doing meth. And I never reached the point of heroin, but I will admit that I was addicted to morphine for quite some time. And when I was out, if it would have been available to me, I would have done it. I would have. So it starts young. You know that you're going to do it. And me being the logical, rational person I was like, well, I'm going to learn as much about it as I can before I do it. When I met other addicts who got me started on all of these other things, I learned as much as I could about it before I started it. And I told them, if I ever buy a pipe and bring it home, or if I ever ask you for a bag and bring it home, cut me off. That's how I started all of these. That didn't last very long, but I never brought it home. I never brought methamphetamine home until I relapsed like the 5th time. And that is my biggest regret, because I have 2 beautiful, beautiful children. And when I was pregnant with them, I was extremely sober. I was like, these are my babies. Everything's about babies.
I was the same. Yep. Yep. I
And
never
when they
used
were
or drank.
born,
I was pregnant.
I went through this huge, horrible postpartum, and I was alone with a human being that I had to keep alive and raise to not be like me. And I didn't know how to do that, and I imploded. I started drinking shortly after my first was born. But hangover or not, I took care of her. Then I got pregnant with my second, and straight sober, good mom. I had that OCD type of mentality of take care of the baby, take care of the baby, take care of the baby. After she was born, I started drinking again. I was still present, and I wasn't belligerent. But I was drinking all the time. And by the time my kids were 3, I was like, go get mommy her beer. It makes mommy's brain happy. And they're like, okay. And that is a guilt I have to get through. And my children now, they understand what they shouldn't have to understand by now. But they have this sense of pride that comes with this knowledge. They're proud of me, and they're proud of themselves for understanding. But drinking led me straight into getting into Adderall. Drinking and Adderall got me straight into meth. And then there was the pain pills in between all of that. That started young. By the time I was 15 years old, I was addicted to a plethora of medications that a very perverted, overage man was giving a 15, 14-year-old girl. Needless to say, my dad found out. That was interesting. By the time I was 16, I was in rehab. And then I was sober for almost a year, I think. But I had fallen into this deep depression from all of the sexual assaults that I had been through by the time I was 16. And I went untreated, and I trusted no one, and I couldn't confide in anyone, and I couldn't accept help. So that was a recipe for disaster. By the time I was 20, I had married a 40-year-old who got me hooked on speed, and it was something I had to escape. He tried to murder me several times, and I was able to escape. And then I fell into drinking, met my my last ex-husband, uh, had my babies, and then I went into my full-blown addiction. By the time I was 28 years old, I'm 6 feet tall. I was 140 pounds. My skin was devastated, and I was a shell of a human being. I fell in love with a man in my addiction and his addiction, and I took off. I imploded, he imploded, and we crashed together. I had been up for 3 days, and I was like, "You can't leave me, you can't leave me." And he was like, "Well, you need to leave your husband," because I was a really horrible person back then. I can admit it. And that was the start of my recovery journey. It was after I shattered my leg. I ended up relapsing 3 times after that. And I actually looked through my Facebook memories today, and my relapse day was today, 2 years ago.
Mm.
And then in 2 days will be my 2-year sober date, because I was able to look back and see the last relapse I had. And it's just, I get it. I get it. And it's nobody else's fault that this happened. It's no one else, nobody else was worth less to me. It was me that had a disorder. It was me that had the mental disorders and the mental anguish and the mentality that I can control it. And I was ruining my life in the process. My ex-husband took the kids, which was fair. And they always came first to me until the addictions consumed me. I took care of my babies every single day, but then I started disappearing. But when I come back, I'm like, I'm taking care of them. I take care of my kids. I'm not a bad mother. But I was a user, and they were around that.
Mm-hmm.
And they were young enough maybe that they won't remember. But they're old enough now, and they're so smart, they're so happy, they're so bright, and they understand mommy now. And they understand that mommy has bad days, and they understand that mommy goes to the doctor for help, that mommy reaches out for help, and mommy works really hard, and mommy is healthy, and mommy is there and present, and mommy takes care of them. And my ex-husband, their father, him and I sat down after I was admitted into the hospital after my last relapse. And he hated me, which was in all fairness. And I sat down with him because he loved me. He loved me so much, and he let this go on. He never stopped me because he loved me so much, and he wanted me to stay with him. He let it go on because he thought if he would stop me, then I would leave him, which was true. But after I was admitted and released, I sat down with him and I told him everything. I told him every lie I ever told him. I told him what I went through. I told him the horrors I saw, the horrors that were done to me, what the drugs did, where I got the drug, everything. I told him everything, and we cried and we held each other. And we became best friends. Like, you've never seen a divorced couple so close. There's no romantic tension there. There's no sexual tension. There's no longing for being in love again tension. It is just us co-parenting as human beings that are friends. And he comes to me when he is having a hard time, and I will sit down and I will talk to him. And when I'm having a hard time, he reminds me of the things that I need to know in that moment, because I give him a blueprint of, okay, I'm having an episode, you know, I'm going to forget how to take care of myself in this episode. And then he will be like, all right, come on, let's do this. Girls need mommy back, because I am mentally ill. I've been through 20 counselors. They can't handle me. They can't. I've been through 4 some psychiatrists. I finally found one though. I found one. And I'm on a waiting list for a new, I fired my last counselor because it didn't work out. There is a very specific way I need to be handled, and you will either scare me off or I'm going to run over you. And it's a delicate balance, and I have to find somebody who can handle that delicate balance. And I work on myself. I work on myself every single day. And I seek the help that I need. I seek the medication I'm supposed to be on. My psychiatrist now, we have me on a specific cocktail, and we went through that over and over and over. This is not working, but this is working. This is not working, but this is kind of working. We need to fix this. And I do the work, and it becomes easier. It just becomes a part of who you are. It's no longer, okay, I need to get a hold of the plug. Why won't the plug answer me? I need to get a hold of the plug. The plug won't answer me. Oh, okay, when are you going to be here? I'll be there in 10 minutes. Oh, okay, 3 hours go by. Fucking tweaker time. And you're sitting around, you're waiting. It's like, all right, he's going to be home in like 5 minutes. And no, you don't have to deal with that anymore.
Right.
You don't have to go to the meetup point. You don't have to worry about, are you getting pulled over? Or you're not going to have to worry about taking your insurance money and using it for dope and hoping you don't get pulled over and getting a ticket for no insurance. It's all right.